Namaste. Thank you for joining me in today's class. We will begin today in a standing position. So the feet are going to be as wide as the shoulders or so, toes pointing forward. Feeling the feet rooting down, the inner edges of the feet almost lifting, and the knees soft. Allow your eyes to close. Begin to notice the movement of your breath. And invite a slightly tucked tailbone, flattening the lower back. Though if you already have a flat lower back and you don't really have a pronounced arch in the lower back, then you can skip this part. But if not, the tailbone is slightly in. And now imagine that you have small mandarins underneath your armpit, so there is a little bit of space there. Middle finger slightly pulling in to begin to stimulate the pericardium meridian, the heart protector, which is connected to the palm and to this area of the body. The knees remain soft, and if you forget, try to come back to that. And we will begin by slowly opening up your eyes. We'll begin to breathe together as we inhale. The arms can begin to lift all the way up. The hands are soft. As we exhale, we draw the energy down. So this is called pulling down the heavens. As we inhale, we reach the arms up. So today I would like to bring a little bit more yin and yang energy and balance into our systems, and the main focus is the heart, Anahata chakra. And this chakra is connected to love, compassion, forgiveness, and it's related to the lungs. It governs the lungs, the area of the heart, the thymus gland, shoulders and the arms. So taking one more. Making it breath a little deeper. Imagine that all the energy that you're creating is being sent to the heart. Now we will begin by doing some circular movements with certain joints in our bodies. And this is quite known in Qigong, but in yoga it's also done, and it's called Pawanmuktasana, which is a way to not only lubricate the joints in our bodies, but it's also said to remove wind that gets stuck or rebellious in our bodies. And then we switch direction. And now we do circular movements with the arms, so the elbows join. And then forward. Now shoulders. And then forward. Include the arms. And then we switch direction. And now the neck, ear to one shoulder back, or to the other ear and forward. Slow movement. Gradual conscious. Then we switch direction. Now hands on the lower part of the rib cage, and we do circles with the middle part of the body. So the lower part has minimum to no movement. Circle, and then we switch side. Now it's the same, but with the hips. It is still the upper part of the body that is moving. And then let's switch side. We seek to move in segment. And now let's warm up the hands, bring the feet together. Place the hands behind the kidneys or behind the back. And now the pelvis moves in circles. So reaching over to the side, forward, out to the other side and back. So if you need to bend the knees here, do so, but it is predominantly the pelvis that is moving. And then switch. And now let your feet be a little wider. And we will continue with movements in the pelvis, but this time the hips dip over to one side and then take it back and then forward. And so then it just goes out to the same side that it did before, back and then forward. Out, keeping that sense of stretch as you take it out to the side, back and forward. Out, back and forward. As if you were creating almost a half circle. Out, back, forward. And now other side. Back, forward. Out, forward. Out, back, and forward. And forward. And now you can begin to create circles with the whole of the pelvis. So the whole of the pelvis moves in one big circle. So for harmony and a good stimulation of the chi in ourselves, we neither need to stick to too much yin or too much yang, but a combination of both to keep the body in harmony. We switch direction. Too much of either of them would result in complications, in some aggravation or excess. And now we will begin to send the feet towards one another. Again, we warm up the hands. Bring the hands to the knees and create circles with the knees. And then over to the other side. Last one. And slowly now begin to create a movement in the feet. So 1 foot at a time, creating circles. You can let all the toes support you as you move. Some of you might choose to leave the foot instead to do the circles, and then switching direction. And then switching to the other foot. Switching side. And then you can shift your foot back, just with the toes down, the heel up, and you can create a little bit of pressure on the toes area. So from side to side, the little toe, big toe, and then switching foot. So just awakening the different areas in our bodies. And now, still keeping the feet slightly wide, just begin to swing your arms as you rotate your torso from side to side. And if you would like to create little fists with your hands, and the hands, give yourself a little tap in the back, in the kidney area. And now we will shake the hands. So we begin to awaken the energy inside the hands and the arms. So shaking out what's called the 9 gates, some of the joints. And let the elbows get involved, and then the shoulders. And now if the heels lift and you can shake up a little bit, do so. If the heels don't feel good when lifting, then don't worry about it. Close your eyes. Now pause and feel. Notice whether you can sense the energy in your hands. The chi, the tingling, the awakening. And keeping this energy, we will begin the practice. Focus on the heart, on love, on compassion, forgiveness. And I like to see this practice as a date with yourself, and how you would like to be treated on a first date. And it is you who will be taking yourself out on the date. So for this practice, you will begin by either having a bolster or a big cushion in a vertical position on your mat, alongside your mat. And I don't recommend this posture for everyone, so I will quickly explain what it is. It's called saddle. Sometimes it can be quite intense if you have any knee injuries or if you have had any complications in the knees. The first posture would be saddle, and I will show two different options. So for one of the options, you would be laying down with your back on the bolster, and you can place a block underneath the bolster to make it a little higher. So the height of the block will really depend on your skeleton. And the knees would be bent in sisa, so it's like sitting on your heels. The knees can be as wide as they need to be. And then with the help of your hands, you can lean back, walk back, and be here. You need to remember that you are encouraged to have sensation. So normally you can be here for a minute. If you don't feel anything, you can move on to your next edge. So what happens if you don't feel good in this posture? If it causes knee pain, then you can have a roll blanket or two blocks right underneath your thigh bones, so above the knee or so, and you can lay in sphinx with the elbows roughly underneath the shoulders, and the knees can be bent. If this feels like too much, you can always send the forehead down, and here the prop underneath your knees is helping you with the hip extension. We are going to be in this posture for around 6 minutes. So let's start getting ready. If you would much rather do the variation in which you're laying over the bolster, the big bolster, then you could also do one knee at a time. And to come out, you would just roll over to the side of the extended leg and switch. So I will let you know when we are halfway there. So your buttocks is off the bolster. There is no right or wrong prop positioning. There is no right or wrong way to place the body. And your body will be the one giving you the cues to let you know whether it is right or unhelpful for your own experience of the posture. As we begin to invite ourselves to our heart dwelling, we invite deeper breath, allow your breath to move towards your abdomen. So the abdomen is so soft that it can expand and contract. And there is not too much effort. It is more of a freedom. Air being the element of Anahata chakra, the heart chakra. We become aware of the air that enters through the nostrils. See if you can feel it or sense it behind the nostrils, the throat. See if you can sense how it passes through the chest and how this air that enters creates an expansion in the sides of the body. You can switch sides if you are in the one knee bend variation. Let it push the abdomen sideways, the back of the body. Give your mind a task to stay fully present to this observing of breath. If you would like to release the block from underneath your bolster, you can choose to do so. Very mindfully. And feel free to come out of the posture earlier if it becomes too intense. Following the journey of breath as it enters through the nostrils, passes through the throat, caresses the heart space, middle abdomen, lower abdomen, before it exits back through the nostrils with a warm sensation. Around 10 seconds to go. You can slowly begin to come out of the posture. It's helpful to slide the hands back towards the feet and then placing one hand down, the other hand, slowly coming out of the posture. And if you feel the need to extend the legs or to move to down dog or in any other way, follow your body's instinct to do as needed. Our next posture will be child's pose. So we bring the knees as wide as the hips or wider. This is really up to you. And then we will walk the hands forward. Remember that you can use props as needed. You can always have something underneath your sitting bones and above the heels. And the variation today will include walking the hands to one side, any side. And we will be folding there for some time. You want to feel a side stretch on one side of the body. And sometimes it helps to place one hand on top of the other for these to be felt. We continue to create slow deep breaths. We continue to take slow deep breaths. We choose to be the witness of each passing breath. Breathing into all parts of your upper body in any particular order. You can breathe from the belly up on the inhale. Or you can also choose to breathe from the chest down on the inhale. Remaining as aware as you could be. Bringing the hands to center now, walking the hands very, very slowly towards the center of your mat. We'll stay here for a minute. Choose to bring the palms in a prayer position. Maybe send the thumbs behind your back. The elbows would be down on the floor. The hands back down and walking them over to the other side on the side bend. Back of the body expansion. Beginning to come out of the posture, sending the hands back to center. Slowly taking any counter posture, rebound. I'll choose to lay on my front. I will explain the next posture. And for the next posture, your hips will be stacked over the knees or so. They can always be modified, but this is just to take you there. And then the arms can either be fully extended forward with the forehead resting on a block or knee support, or you can place your forehead on one forearm. So you can do 2 minutes on each forearm, or you can have the bolster right underneath the chest or the ribs. So you can choose to send the forearms down and adjust yourself as you need. If you ever feel too much in the arms, in the shoulders, then it would be best to change or to even come out of the posture. So let's begin. The sitting bones can always move further back, but know that this is a back bend and that we are also targeting the arm lines. Choosing your variation. You can always take the arms wider if you need. Imagine that your upper body is a cylinder that extends from the head to the pelvis. You're slowly breathing onto that cylinder. Our progress in the practice is more reflected in how you breathe than in how you perform a posture. Many times we will look completely different in the shape than someone else. You can now switch sides very, very mindfully. Bending opposite elbow. And sometimes our mind tends to judge what it sees. The body appreciates when we acknowledge what needs to be shifted, changed, or modified in order to suit our own health, our own well-being. once we can authentically be of service to ourselves, this can reflect in how we become of service to others. Just allow a few seconds here. If you need to come out before, you're super welcome to do so. Very mindfully begin to send one elbow slightly back to support you, followed by the other. Taking in a rebound or counter posture, I will choose to lay on my front. When we enter matters of the heart, we are always in a vulnerable space. So we practice with that inner knowing. Now slowly begin to bring your elbows in. If you need to look at the screen, for the next posture is called broken branch. And I will give a few variations. One variation is to thread one arm underneath the other. And here you can have your head on a block, or you can also be on the opposite hand. The other option is the full broken branch, in which both arms are threaded, and it's almost as if the elbows are stacked. And the head can drop, the chin can be resting on the upper arm. And this is more intense than the first option. The other option is to let one arm be free. So you're laying over one shoulder, and you can also choose to have half frog leg, in which you bend the opposite knee to the arm that is threaded. So if it's your right arm that is threaded under the left knee would bend to the side. And here we spend around 2 minutes. Shifting your breathing onto the sides of the body, the sides of the rib cage, lower back. Remember that if you're invited on a first date, you recognize your needs. Now we will begin to switch sides. So if your knees bend, extend the leg very mindfully and thread the arm. We will go straight onto the other side. Threading the arm, setting up your head, your other arm, maybe the knee. Where do you personally Flying love. Where have you sought it? What has given you the feeling of being loved and being loved? Is it a feeling or an emotion that is always with you, or is it dependent on something else or someone else? Slowly begin to release the posture. One elbow back, extending the back leg, and threading the arm. Just for a short moment, rest with your gaze over to the opposite side of where you had it before. We'll do one more posture for the arms, lungs, large intestine, heart, small intestines. And for that posture, I will quickly show first. You can slide one hand underneath the shoulder. Now leave the leg of the same side and roll over to this side of your body. So I am moving towards my left hand side, so I place my right foot behind the left leg. And if you feel too much in that extended arm, draw it downwards, away from the front of your room. If you don't feel much at all, the thumb can be drawn upwards. And those are some modifications that you can do. The other modifications are to release some of the intensity, is to drop the top knee downwards instead and let it soften towards the bottom knee. In the arms, we do need a fair amount of stability, a fair amount of mobility. The yin and the yang, nothing too open or too stiff. About a minute here. The tingliness is an invitation for you to come out of the posture and adjust. Slowly begin to come out in the way that you entered. Extending the legs, bringing your torso back down to the floor, shifting your gaze to the extended arm side, sending the other arm into a T shape, and then bringing the opposite hand underneath the shoulder, lifting the leg, bending the knee, stepping the foot back to the other side of the mat. Developing an internal, developing our connection to ourselves, our needs, noticing what happens when we are not constantly guided, distracted, when it's just you and yourself, you and your mind, you and your heart. Can you become your greatest lover? Can you provide to yourself what it is that you need? Without waiting for someone to give that to you. Taking full responsibility for your experience. Coming out of a posture. Slow movement. Pausing in any shape that you need. And we will be sitting in the next posture, so rolling onto the side, finding a seat, and the next posture will be a choice of a forward fold, and you can choose between quite a few different variations. One is to have the legs in a V shape. You can have the soles of the feet together. You could extend the legs forward. Or it can be a mixture or a combination of different postures in which you can send one foot to the opposite inner thigh and fold there, always using props if you need. It will be 5 minutes in the posture. So if you want to do half the time in one asymmetrical posture, you're welcome to do so, and I will let you know once we are halfway there. So choosing which one will be your variation, and we will begin to fold. Moving to your edge. Connecting once again to your breath. Relax the toes. You're developing a stronger relationship to the breath that comes in through the nostrils. Air, oxygen, prana, chi. Inviting it to spread as far as it can reach inside your body. If there is any resistance to the posture, you can always back up a little bit. Invite a sense of ease, even if you feel the pulling or the stretching. So the heart being the seat of love, of compassion, of forgiveness and kindness, can become tainted by life experiences There is a beautiful story of a dad who is talking to his daughter, and his daughter is so overwhelmed by the state of her mind, by anxiety, by sorrow and grief. And she seems to not be able to withstand her present experience of life. The dad was a chef and he wanted to explain something to her about life, so he grabbed a potato and an egg and he said, "I want to show you something." So he put them, both the potato and the egg, in boiling water. We are halfway there. You can go a little deeper or change legs if you wish. So the daughter was a bit confused about what was happening. But after 40 minutes or so, he took out the egg and the potato of the water. And he said, "See how the potato went soft after being boiled, while it was really hard before it went in the water. And while the egg was fragile, became hard after being boiled." And so in life, we will experience adversities that can be compared to the boiling water, the heat, the discomfort. And these situations can either make us harder or turn us into mush. And it is up to us what we choose to do with the experiences that we have lived, or who have shaped us into who we are. Whenever we hold resentments, or we have been heartbroken and hold a grudge against anyone who has done anything other than what we expected, we are taking that adversity to turn us into a victim. We can slowly begin to come out of posture, very, very mindfully and slowly. Taking a moment to do anything you wish, any pause, any rebound, any movement. And slowly begin to lower all the way down into a laying down position, so laying on your back. Invite one hand to your heart and one hand to your abdomen. Knees bent, knees resting against one another. In every situation, in every experience, we can either choose to find someone to blame, to judge for the emotions that we feel, or we can also use those emotions that we have felt to turn us into a kinder and more loving and compassionate self. So taking all of the experiences that we have lived as an opportunity to learn and to grow, taking it all as a teaching where there are no mistakes, but it is through the most heartfelt and sometimes painful experiences that the real us begins to reveal itself. As you inhale, begin to follow the breath as it enters the nostrils, passes through the throat, allowing the upper chest to expand, mid-rib cage, belly. Watch it release. No effort, no doing, no forcing. And now do the same, and this time I'll count to 6. So inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Finally, take yourself into Shavasana. Connect to that in you, which is love, which is compassion, which is kindness. Love is who we are and is always free. But who we think we are will never be free. And just like the air element and love both cannot be seen, but can be felt. And let your heart speak to your body, speak to your mind, as the breeze speaks to the leaves. Sensing the energy in the palms, the fingers, providing a stretch. And rolling over to the side. Pushing yourself up towards the seated position. Bringing hands to heart. Bring the thumbs in between the eyebrows. May we cultivate kind thoughts towards ourselves and others. Thumbs to the lips. May your words be authentic yet compassionate. And the thumbs to the heart. May all separations dissolve as we realize the ultimate truth of who we are, becoming nothing but love. Namaste.